We were discussing about how to create a user-defined macro variables, and so far we have seen two methods. One is percentage let, and the second one is percentage global. And then the third method that we have is a percentage local. What the percentage local will do, it creates macro variables, but it creates and it localizes given macro variable, but it cannot assign any value. Localizes given macro variable, but it cannot assign any value. Even I want to create a macro variable, I want to localize it. And I told you in the last class, always better to create a macro variable within a macro. That is a safer way of creating a macro variable. Now I'm writing percentage macro. Then I'm writing a macro name. Whatever the name you want to have, you can write it. Then I told you percentage amend. We should write one more time, macro name mac1. Now I want to create a macro variable now. To create a macro variable, now I'm writing a percentage let. I want to create a macro variable called x, and in that I want to have value 20. Now I'm writing x is equal to 20. So if I execute the program, and of course I should invoke the macro, I'm writing percentage one more time mac1. Now if I execute the program, the macro will be get created and indeed invoked. Now what the macro will I created now? X. You know what I want to do? I want to define this macro variable, or I want to localize this macro variable for only within the macro. If you want to localize a macro variable into within the macro, in future, if you do not want to have that value outside the macro, now we need to localize that one. How to localize a given macro? Now within a macro, you should write the percentage local, and you should write the macro variable a, which is x semicolon. Now if I select the program, execute the program, now you know what is going to happen. Now this x macro variable will be get localized. Once it has been localized, we cannot globalize that macro variable. So whenever you want to create a macro variable and you want to if you want to localize that macro variable, we are going to write what we are going to write. We are going to percentage local that macro variable. Okay. Now I want to check that x value. Then what should I do? I am going to write a percentage put. I am writing ampersand x. Now select the program and execute it. Now in that log window, now we can find the value for ampersand x is 20. Whenever I want to localize a macro variable, we are going to write a percentage local and then the macro variable. Once you localize a macro variable, we cannot globalize that macro variable. Why we use this one? Sometimes I want to have I want to have a macro variable, but I want to have a different value within the macro, and I want to have another value outside the macro. Now, say for example, here I'm writing percentage let. I want to have macro variable called x. Here I want to have value 10. Now, if I execute the program, outside the macro, what is the x value? Outside the macro, the x value is going to be 10. But within the macro, what is the x value? Within the macro, the x value is going to be 20. Okay. So outside the macro 10, inside the macro 20. So if you want to create a macro in that way, we use a percentage local. Okay. And then the fourth method that we have to create a macro variable is call symput. Call symput is a method we use to create a macro variable in a data structure. So far, we are creating a macro variable by using a percentage letter outside openly or within a macro. But now I want to create a macro variable within data step. Now, if you want to create a macro variable within a data step, now we are going to use a concept called call symput. So, since I'm saying it is a data step, how we should start our program with data and then the data set name. Now, since it's a data step, we should end with the run statement. What I want to do, I want to create a macro variable called name. In that, I want to have value Srinivas. Then how we can write one? Now you can specify call symput of, open the parenthesis. What is the macro variable name I want to have? The macro variable name I want to have a name. We should write the macro variable name within the quotations, comma. Now what is the value I want to have? I want to have value Srinivas. Now I'm going to specify the Srinivas, close the parenthesis, keep a semicolon. Now this is the macro variable name and this is the value. Okay. Now if I select the program, execute the program, a macro variable called name will be get created. Now I want to check whether the macro variable has been created or not. How to check a macro variable now? Percentage put ampersand name. Now if I select the program and execute the program, if we have macro variable called ampersand name, and then we are going to have value called Srinivas. Can you see? Yes, we have a value Srinivas. So that means it has created a macro variable called name and the value is Srinivas. Now, but tell me, what is the data set I'm creating here?
DS.
I'm trying to open the data set DS. You will not find anything in that. When you do not have any information, then why should I create a data set? I do not want to create a data set, but I want to execute this program. You know that if you want to execute the program, but if you do not want to create a data set, what is the method that we write?
Underscore null underscore.
Underscore null underscore. Remember, we use underscore null underscore in data step reporting or null reporting. I told you that time we use this special purpose data set for two important reasons. One is for null reporting and another one is macro variable creation. Now select the program and execute it. So now in the log, now I do not want to have any data set. Now from now onwards it won't create any data set, but in the log window, now we can find the value. Now I want to create one more macro variable called salary. In that I want to have salary 80,000. Now we can do that one. Data underscore null underscore. Then call symput of, open the parenthesis. The macro variable I want to have is salary within the quotations, comma. I want to have 80,000. 80,000 is a numerical data. You can write openly and then write the run statement. Now if I execute the program, now I'm going to have macro variable called salary. In that, what is the value we are going to have? 80,000. I want to check that one. I'm writing percentage put. What is the macro variable name? Ampersand salary. Now select the program and execute it. If we have that macro variable in the log window, now we can see the value. Understand this one? Now, if you're creating like this one, what is the point of writing a call symput? We can do the same thing with the percentage by using a percentage let also. Then why we should do this in the data step? The advantage of the call symput is not only to hard code a macro variable like this one, you can retrieve a data set value into a macro variable. So that is one of the major important reason why we write a call symput. Now, do you know about the SAS helper class, right? In the SAS helper class, we have a variable called name. In that we have student names. I want to have that student name into a macro variable. Then how we can do that one? Now I'm writing data underscore null underscore because I want to execute the program, but I do not want to create data set. Now I'm writing calls input of. I want to have variable called student name SNM. So since the macro variable name, you should keep that within the quotations, comma. Now I am writing a variable called name. Do you know what is the name indicates? This name is a variable of SAS class. So that's why you no need to write this one within the quotation. But where we have the SAS class, to represent that one, now I'm writing set SAS class. So that means now this name is name variable of SAS class. Now I'm selecting this program and executing the program. I want to check whether the macro variable has been created or not. What is the macro variable I'm creating?
SNM.
SNM. Now I am writing percentage put ampersand SNM. Now, if I execute this one line, this one statement, if you go to the log window, now this is the value I'm getting. What is the value I'm getting? Philip. Why we are getting the Philip? If I go to the SAS help.class, can you see where we have the Philip?
Last one.
The 19th value, the last one. You know, when the program executes, for the first time, SNM value is, Joyce only. But when the program executes for the second time, Louis will overwrite the Joyce. In that way, every time the new observation, the current observation will overwrite the previous observation. In that way, finally, the Philip will overwrite that Alfred. That's why we call it the Philip. But you know what I want to do? I want to get all the 19 names. I want to create, the difference between a base SAS variable and macro variable is a base SAS variable can have multiple values, but a macro variable can have only one value. So that means you cannot keep more than one value for one variable in macros. Understand? Now, if that is the case, now what I want to do, I want to create a 19 macro variables. So for each macro variable, so that I can have one value. Now, how to create 19 macro variables? So now I'm going to write a program now to create 19 macro variables. Now data underscore null underscore semicolon set SAS help dot class. Now I'm writing calls input of. Open the parenthesis. I want to have macro variable called SNM. I want to create this macro variable from the name variable. Now write the run state. But if I execute this program, I will get only one macro variable, right? SNM. But what I want to do in the SNM, I want to have Joyce first variable, then Louis, then Alice. So I want to create 19 macro variables. So like SNM1 to SNM19, SNM1, SNM2, SNM3, like that. Then how to create 19 macro variables in one program? If you want to create 19 macro variables, now we should write a SNM, and I'm going to write the double pipe symbol, then I'm going to specify underscore n underscore. When the program executes for the first time in the PDV, what is underscore n underscore value? First observe the underscore n underscore value is 1. So now this 1 will concatenate to SNM. It is going to become SNM1. So when we have SNM1, then the value is going to be, Joyce. When the program is executed for the second time, then underscore n underscore is going to be 2. It is going to be 2 concatenated with SNM2. It is going to be SNM2. And when we have SNM2, we are going to have a different value. Now this time, we are going to have a Louis. So for each cycle, it will create a new macro variable from SNM1 to SNM19. Understand this one? But the problem is that underscore is going to have some leading and trailing spaces. Before concatenating, I want to remove those spaces. If you want to remove those spaces, what should I do before concatenating? I am going to write, say for example, compress function. Now compress function will remove leading, trailing, and embedded spaces, all the spaces. Now, if I execute the program, I am going to have SNM1 to SNM19. I want to check all those things. So I'm writing percentage, but I want to know SNM1 value. And then I want to know ampersand SNM3, then ampersand SNM5, and I want to know ampersand SNM10, then ampersand SNM15, then I want to know ampersand SNM19. So if it has been created, now we can see all the 6 macro variable values in the log window. Can you see? 1 is Joyce, 3 is Alice, 5 is Thomas, we have 10 or something, and then finally 19 we have a field. That means it has been successfully created 19 macro variables.
Sir, in the log window, underscore n underscore will not have spaces and so for compress we used.
No, we are going to have type spaces. So when we have a spaces, it is going to be SNM space 1 or something like that. So we cannot have a macro variable name like that. Any variable name like that. Okay. To remove that one, we are going to have we need to compress or strip before. We need to compress or we need to strip before creating the macros. Understand this one? This is how we create a macro variables in data structure. Now say for example, this time I'm going to say data underscore null underscore set SAS help dot class. I'm writing if sex is equal to capital F, then also input. Open the parenthesis. I want to have a macro variable called sex1. I'm writing sex1. Sex1. Then in that I want to have a sex variable value. Then tell me what is the sexual value now? What the sexual value will be? F. Because if sex is equal to F, then calls input of sex1 comma sex. Now I'm writing else if sex is equal to capital M, then also input in the parenthesis. I want to have input sex2, then I want to have I'm writing percentage put, then I'm writing ampersand sex1, then I'm writing percentage put ampersand sex2. Can you see? We have F and we have
Sir, sir, in the above program, when we used this calls input compress function, sir, is there any chance that we will get numerical values converted into character values like that?
Yeah.
Why it is getting like that, sir?
Because underscore is going to have numerical data 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 like that.
Yes, sir. So is it okay?
If you want to avoid that one, we should write a put the function to convert that into numerical, then we can use it.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So this time, I want to create a macro variable by using, into colon concept. Into colon is the class we use to create macro variables. To create macro variables in Proc SQL. By using Proc SQL, if you want to create a macro variable, now we are going to use a concept called into colon. Then how we can do that? Now tell me how to know how many observations we have in SQL. Everybody, anybody? How many observations we have in any data set? How we can write the code for that one? Select count of star from SAS class. What the count of star will do? It is going to count as a function. It is going to give the number of observations in the SAS class. Now see, if I execute the program, I will have a print in the output window, and it will show how many observations we have. Do you know how many observations we have in the SAS class? 19. If I say select a count of star from SAS cars, now what is that value that you are going to get? We will get 428. So if you want to know observation number, this is how we are going to write in Proc SQL. Of course, it is in SQL. But I want to have how many observations we have in the data set. I want to have that information in a variable. If you want to have that information in a variable, what you will do? Select count of star as variable name from SAS. Now we are going to have variable called CNT. In that, what is the value we are going to have? We are going to have value 19. So now we have a variable name CNT. Now that is an SQL, but I want to create a variable in macros. Now in that scenario, select count of star. Now we are going to use a class called into colon, then the macro variable. Now if I execute the program, now tell me what is the macro variable it will create now? It will create a macro variable called CNT. Since it's a macro variable, if you want to know the value, what is the statement you should write now? You should write percentage put and ampersand CNT. Now if you select the program and execute this one line, we are going to have the value in the log window. Anyway, I want to create a macro variable. I do not want to create any print. That's generally what I'm going to write now. I will let the no print option. Now we execute this program. We are going to have macro variable called CNT, and the value of the CNT is 19. Number of observations. Again, the advantage with the into colon is you can get a data value from the table into a macro variable. నేను పర్సంటేజ్ లెట్ అని రాశాను అనుకోండి, ఏం చేయగలుగుతాను? ఏదో ఒక మ్యాక్రో వేరియబుల్ నేమ్ రాస్తాను, ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు నేను ఏం చేస్తాను, వాల్యూ రాస్తాను. సో ఐఎమ్ హార్డ్ కోడింగ్ దట్ వాల్యూ. బట్ ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు గెట్ a value from the table, then what is the program we should write, what is the class we should use? We should use into colon. Now can you see how I'm getting the 19? From where we are getting this one? We are getting this information from my data set. Now you no need to hard code it. Now I no need to write like this one, percentage put, now percentage letter, CNT is equal to 19. If you want to write this one, what should I do? I need to count that the observation, then I should hard code it. What is the point of hard coding? You know, when you're hard coding, why we should write the macros and all. So now it is going to pick the value from the data set and it is going to assign that value to a macro variable. Now can you tell me, I want to create a macro variable called total weight. In the total weight, I want to have all the 19 students' weight, total weight. Now, this is how we are going to select sum of which variable? Weight. Now, into colon the macro variable name. I want to have macro variable name called total weight. From SAS class. So select what I want to select is sum. Sum is a function. Sum of which variable? Weight into colon total weight from SAS class. Now, if you want to check that one, now I'm writing ampersand TOTWT Now, what is the value we are going to have now? In that, we are going to have the total weight of all the 19 students, which is 1900.5. In future, we are going to do tables and listings. In the tables and listings, we are going to use this concept a lot, to get the subjects, populations in specific treatment, total number of subjects in a treatment. Because Proc SQL or SQL is far better than the proc frequency whenever you want to get the counts and percentages. So I want to get average weight, average height of all the 19 students. Tell me, what should I do if you want to get the average height? Select. What is the function that we have for average? We can use a mean function or you can use average function. Mean of for which variable I want to have? Height variable. Into colon, and then the macro variable name. I want to have an average height from which data set? From SAS class. I want to check that average height value. So ampersand AVG HT. Now, first of all, I'm selecting this program. I'm executing this program now. Now, if I execute this one, now I'm going to have an average height which is around, 62.33684 or something. But I do not want to have that much. Now I'm writing, format is equal to, I think, 5.2. Let's check. Still I'm getting it. Now I want to have, females total weight, males total weight, and then I want to have females and males total weight. What should I do? Females total weight separately and males total weight. If you want to have that one, then what is the program you are going to write? Select sum of weight into colon. I want to have, total weight F females from which data set? From SAS class. Then what we should write? Where
Yes,
sex is equal to capital F. Now it is going to filter the data. We get the information only for the females. Now I'm going to get the females total weight. In the same way, if you want to get the total weight for the males, what we should do? Now we should select sum of weight into colon. I want to have a total weight males from which data set? From SAS help class where sex is equal to capital M. Understand this one? But I want to have both females total weight and males total weight in one statement. I do not want to write two separate statements. Then what we should do? Now I'm going to write select sum of weight into colon. I want to have, say for example, total weight, POT weight 1, then POT weight 2, 1 to 2, from where? From SAS help dot class. Then I am going to specify grouped by sex. Tell me how many groups we have in the sex variable?
Two groups.
Now F weight is going to come into TOT WT1, and then the next information we are going to get into TOT WT2. Now select the program and execute it. Is
SAS help doc class.
what is that? Did you give the wrong name? Wrong spelling
X
here.
is equal to M in that line.
Now I want to check whether these two variables have been created or not. What are that word? TOTWT1, TOTWT2. I'm getting ampersand TOTWT1 and then I'm getting ampersand TOTWT2. You got this one. Now, if it has been created, now we can find the two values. The nil sort of weight and the nil sort of weight. Now, I want to create a macro variable called student name 1 to student name 19. In that, I want to have all the 19 students. First of all, I want to create a macro variable called student name. In the student name, I want to have, all the 19 names. So tell me how we can do that one. Now I'm writing, Proc SQL. I'm going to the quit statement. Now in between, I'm writing, so for example, select the name into colon. I want to have stdn from SAS class. What is macro I'm creating here? stdn. I want to check whether the stdnm has been created or not. By the way, I do not want to get any print here. If I write the select statement, I'm going to get the print. I do not want to get the print, so I'm writing the no print option. So I want to check whether the macro will be created or not. I'm writing percentage put. I'm writing ampersand stdn. Now if I select the program and execute this one line, now if I in the log window, this is the value I'm getting. What is this value?
Second observation and last
Which observation?
first observation.
The first observation. You'll get only the first value. In the data step, we got the last value when I write a calls input. When you write a Proc SQL, it will stop there after the first observation, so you'll get only one value. But I want to get all the 19 values. If you want to get all the 19 values into one variable, what we are going to do? We are going to select name into colon stdnm separated by. We can use a concept called separated by, space. Now select the program, execute the program. Now in the log window, now can you see what happened now? We got all the 19 names. But I'm getting all the 19 names as in one value. I want to have one name into one variable. Joyce into one, Louis into one, like that one. I want to have Joyce into one variable, Louis into one variable, Alice into one variable like that. So I want to create a 19 macro variables because I told you one macro can have only one value. So then what should I do? Now instead of writing separated by, now I'm going to write like this one. Select name into colon. Now I'm writing stdnm1. I want to create 19 macro variables. So I'm writing hyphen symbol, then the colon symbol. I'm writing now stdnm19. Okay, from where? From SAS class. Now I want to check whether the macro will be created or not. Now I'm writing like this one, stdnm, say for example 1, stdnm, say for example 5, then I want to have stdnm 9, I want to check stdnm 10, then I want to check stdnm 15, then I want to check 19. Select the program and executed it. If you have 19 macros, can you see? Now we have the values. Understand this one? We can get all the 19 names as one value by writing separated by, or you can create a 19 different macro variables. And by the way, Every time it is going to be hard coding. I know that in the SAS data class we have 19 names, so since because of that reason I have written SGD and M19. But sometimes, in the database they may add some more observation to the SAS data class, or they may delete few observations. Then it is going to be we are going to get an error. Now in that scenario, from SAS 9.4 M4 version, you no need to write two variable like this one. You can simply leave it. You can write it. You don't need to write the two. Automatically SAS can get it, and it will go. It is going to create the values. I think you don't require this one. Automatically, it is going to create the macro values. This works only from SAS 9.4 M4 version. Understand this one? You don't need to hard code the data. Now tell me, I want to create a macro variables. I will show you one thing. Here we have a cost data set. I want to have RD into one variable, Acura into one variable, BMW into one variable. I don't know how many variables it requires. I want to have each brand into one macro variable. Can you help me to write the code for that one? Proc SQL. And I do not want to have any print. See, print also. What is there? Now I'm writing select. We have BMW 20 models, 20 observations. Do you require all the BMW? No, I want to have only BMW one time. If you want to have BMW only one time, what we should do? What is the function you should write in SQL?
Distinct.
Very good. Distinct of make. Is it the make only? Distinct of make into colon. I want to have make one, then hyphen. From which data set? From SAS help.cars. That's it. Now if I execute the program, automatically it is going to create these many variables. Now I'm writing, say for example, I want to check randomly, then I'm going to write a percentage put ampersand make 1, ampersand make 10, ampersand make 15. I want to check all the three. I'll execute this one. Go to the log window. Can you see? 1 Acura, 10, don't know what brand it is, and then which is 15. Now each brand is going to come into one macro variable. Understand this one, everybody? This is how we create macro variables in Proc SQL. I will tell you one more thing. I want to get a minimum case into one macro variable, which is called case min. Tell me how we can enter the program. Proc SQL. Select select min of A's into colon. I want to have low A's from SAS help.case. I'm writing it. I want to check the value. To check the value, I'm writing percentage put the minimum base value is I'm writing, single pipe symbol, ampersand, what is the macro variable I created? Low A. I'm writing, single pipe symbol. Now, if I execute this one line now, by the way, I do not want to have printer. Now I'm writing a no print option here. Now, if I execute the program, I'm going to get the lowest age, minimum age, obviously, which is 11. And this is how we're going to get it. Can you see we are getting the 11? But when I'm getting the 11, can you see what happening? What is happening here? I'm getting too many spaces. Can you see between the two single pipe symbols? So we have 11, but before the 11, can you see how many spaces we have? Too many. I do not want to have those spaces. If you do not want to have those spaces, now I'm going to write the same statement again, but this time when I'm writing the statement, after that macro variable, whatever the macro I'm creating, after the macro variable, I'm going to use a keyword called trimmed. So this time I want to create a low age 1. I want to check the low age 1 now. Now if I select the program, execute the program, now can you see how we have the low age 1 now? We have without spaces. If you want to remove those spaces, what is that option that you should write after macro variable now? Trim. Understand this one?
Sir, and in distinct make into colon, make one hyphen, why we have written, sir?
We don't know how many waves we should create, right? Do you know how many brands we have? How many different types of makers that we have in SAS class?
No, sir.
We don't know. That's why if it is SAS not 9.4 M4 version, you have to make sure that how many makes that we should have. We should write that letter last variable, maybe 20 or 30 like that.
Okay.
From SAS 9.4 onwards, so you do not require this two variable. Only from variable is enough.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Clear everybody this one? So these are the 5 different ways. So that is how we create a macro variable. Very, very important question. If 10 members goes for an interview, 9 members will get this question. How many ways you can create a macro variable? Out of 10, 9 members will get this question. How many ways you can create a macro variable? We can create a macro variable in 5 ways, which is a percentage let, percentage global, percentage local, calls input, into column. Then definitely they will ask the question, why we use calls input? What is the importance of calls input and into column? What is the point? What is the use of calls input? If you want to create a macro variable in a data step, we use a calls input. If you want to create a macro variable in SQL, we use into column. When we are discussing about SQL, and I'm going to explain few more concepts of into column macro variable. Clear, everybody?
Sir, here we are using single pipe symbol, no, sir. So what would be the single pipe symbol considers in the macro, sir?
No, it won't do anything. I want to show that whether you have spaces or not. When you're writing a percentage put and then whatever the text that you write, this text is going to print in the log window. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So when printing the log window, everything is going to print exactly the same, but how the percentage low age 1 will be resolved as 11.
Low age, yes, sir.
Okay? So if I didn't use it trimmed, then if I trimmed I use cheyaledu. Say for example, if I trimmed use chestunnaru chudandi. Then trimmed use chesiనప్పుడు trim use చేయనప్పుడు now try to find out the difference. Now I'm using a macro variable called low age, and this is the low age one. In the low age one, I used the option called trimmed. I didn't use that one here. Now you only find the difference between these two. I want to show that whether you have any spaces or not. That's what I'm using. Can you see when I didn't use the trimmed between the left single pipe symbol and the 11 value? Can you see how many spaces we have?
Yes, sir.
Many spaces, right? But
Yes,
we do
sir.
not have this one. When I use the trimmed, we don't have those spaces. So by default, when you're creating a macro in SQL, you're going to get some leading spaces. If you want to remove those leading spaces, what is that option you should write now?
Trimmed, sir.
trimmed out.
Sir, as we are using this ampersand put, no, sir, in another while invoking other variables, we didn't use like this extra put statements. We can use this low wage one in this also in first statement itself, no, sir. Can't we use like that?
I didn't get it. Come again.
Sir, you have written two put statements, no, sir.
Hmm.
So instead of writing low wage one in another put statement,
You can write that one also here itself. Say for example, here also you can write here.
yes, sir.
You
Yeah.
don't need to write two separate.
Yeah.
To show the difference, that's why I use it in two. But you can write multiple variables in one put statement also.
Yes, sir.
So now we can find that this is one, and again this is one.
Yes,
But I want
sir.
to show you.
కంపల్సరీ ట్రిమ్ యూజ్ చేయాలా లేకపోతే వేరే ఫంక్షన్ కూడా యూజ్
No, you should
చేయొచ్చు?
use only trim. You cannot use strip or something. You can use only trim.
Sir, actually in data step, trim function is for removing trailing prices only, right, sir?
But in SQL, we have a different function.
Okay, sir, thank you.
That is a trim function. Trim end. This is just a trim.
Okay, sir.
Hello. So
Yes.
single pipe use చేయడం mandatory, sir?
No. I want to show you the space. To show the space, I'm using single pipe symbol. Single pipe symbol in use cheyadankondi, you can't find whether we have a space or not. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes, a space unde చూపించడం కోసం నేను మీకు ఒక సింగిల్ పైప్స్ యూజ్ చేశాను సో దట్ యూ కెన్ ఫైండ్ ద స్పేస్ లీడింగ్ స్పేస్ లాంగ్వేజ్ ఓకేనా ఓకే
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
we'll continue tomorrow. We'll see that the parameters and the other concepts. Okay.
Sir, the before example that STTM1, that one once. This one, yes, sir. 5, 9. There also is only because you have given hyphen, it will select all the names. Hello?
కాదే
Yes, sir, you're saying something.
Sir, I am saying that for this one, SDTNM1, so this is the name only, no, sir? Like select name, and this hyphen is for selecting all the names.
Yeah. See, how many names, how many values we have in the name variable in SAS class?
19.
19. So I want to keep one value into one macro variable. Okay. So that means I want to create SGDNM1 to SGDNM19
Yes,
because we cannot keep 19 values in one macro variable.
okay.
So to create 19 macro variables, I'm writing SGDNM1 hyphen. So previously, if he is not SAS 9.4, definitely you should write SGDNM19 also, too,
Okay.
like this one.
Okay, sir.
But from 9.4 M4 onwards, we no need to do that one.
Okay.
So writing a first variable is enough.
Okay. And separated by 2 inverted commas that we have given, that also I couldn't.
So here, what is happening, you'll get all the 19 names into one macro variable as one value. So now we can create a macro variable called stdnm. In that variable itself, we are going to have Alfred space. Then we are going to have Ali space, Barbara space, Joyce, like that one. We are going to have all the 19 names into one macro variable as one value.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. But now here it will not override, sir, because we are separating it.
Yes, it won't be get overrated. It's going to be get concatenated, but it's separating by single space.
Okay. So separated by is also an option like trim.
Separated by that's the trimmed. We use the trimmer in the way same way we can use separated.
Okay. And separated should be followed by and two inverted
Yes.
commas.
But if you want, you can also keep comma. If you write a comma, now the values are going to get separated by comma.
Okay, sir. Yes, yes. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, guys. So we'll continue tomorrow.